Welcome back to Secrets of the Pros, guys. On behalf of the Department of Youth Services here in Belize City, Central America, I'm your host, Andrew Rayburn, mixing engineer and producer. And as we promised, you guys hit up on us on about 101 actually subscribers. So as promised, we're going to be releasing the video mixing from start to finish. Apology from King Swiss, the rising youth artist. This is the artwork. And I'm going to show you how we mix this thing from start to finish. We're going to be touching it in about 3 or 4 sessions. And I'm going to show you everything I know that the pros are doing. And you can grasp that idea to create your own sound. Because I've studied a lot of professionals and I've learned to create my own way of mixing. So it's not to copy the setting. I'm going to tell you one time, if you copy what I'm doing, like the exact setting for a compressor or reverb, it might not work on your mix. So you have to use your ears. So let's play a little bit of King Swiss.
Baby, I've been thinking of you all day. I want you to be in my life from the first day. So I reminisce on your pretty brown eyes. Your hug got me mesmerized. Come and be my wife, yeah, yeah, yeah. Me I be real from me heart, my one and only, my day one baby, yeah, yeah. Me nah no man a steal, me a man a real life, you a princess in a real life.
All right, so that's the sample from King Swiss, and let's go jump right into it. We're not going to get into too much talking here because we want to show you guys how to do this thing. And here you might see all my session looks like this. You might say, man, this is like 1,000 tracks. Actually close to maybe about 40-45 tracks. You might see a busload of plugins. And you might say, Ray, how do you get so much plugs? Well, I'm going to show what these plugs do. What you're hearing is a simple song, so you might not think that it requires all these routing and effects to get it going. So today we're gonna be touching on choosing the instruments, and we're gonna be talking about gain staging. So when you record, guys, it's very important to make sure you get a good balanced recording. I typically record my artist's vocals about -12 or 10 dB. That's really low, so I can capture all the dynamics, all the high peak range and such, and so I mixed it in. And we can always bring up the volume. You don't want to record too low with a condenser microphone, else you might catch the ground floor and the ambience of the back wall instead of the vocals. So you want to balance between those. And I'm recording at 48 kilohertz at 32-bit floating point. So I'm getting a maximum quality I can push out of the sound card. So the first thing, King Swiss idea for this song, he wanted an R&B kind of vibe, but not too Mary J. Blige-ish, if I can say. He wanted something that will pop, and a kind of in between rap and R&B kind of sound. So he loved pianos, so that's why I came up with this sound here. This is the German Consort D from Contact. And I'm going to turn off the effects I have on it so you can hear the... Now I'm running Contact 5.6.6 version, and the first rule of thumb, don't feel like you have to get expensive instrument, guys. You don't need a 12 gigabyte library of piano. You can choose something even from the Korg M1 and still get a decent song if you know how to properly mix it. I like close to the real thing, so I'm a big fan of native instruments. 95% of my work comes from native instrument songs. I have strum guitars and all those different instruments. So that's why I chose this piano. and it has a option here to you can either use it with the pads or without. So this is where I've got my sound, right? So
Baby,
let's isolate the piano. So that's how I got my sound. Nice subtle piano, not playing a lot of stuff, just something balanced that doesn't get boring, right? I believe as a producer, it's a plus to be a musician to understand the feel and the vibe of the song. So I'm gonna pull up my SSL EQ here, and also I'm routing that piano. All my mixes, I'm going through 3 main buses. One is for drums, music, and vocals. So the piano is obviously coming out of the music, drums also come out of the drums, all vocals come out of the vocals. And let's say you might ask, but what about harmonies? Where do the harmonies come from? The harmony goes to what you call a harmony auxiliary track, meaning the 2 mono tracks go to 1 stereo bus, and that bus routes right back out of vocals. So you can see the trend there. And I'm trying to move as fast as I can for the sake of this tutorial, because it took me hours to mix this thing, but I'm trying to level it off in sessions so you can follow up and understand why we do what we do, and why it is required to route audio and different stuff to get your mix pumping. So here is the SSL channel strip, and what I'm gonna do with the piano, I'm gonna roll off a high pass filter about 138, and I'm gonna be boosting about 4 dB at 8 kilohertz. And let's see what else I'm doing here. Just about that, I'm doing the piano pretty much songs full by itself. So let's turn on the SSL. This is before. I'll turn on the compressor SSL channel. Notice that when I rolled off 138, the piano still sounds full, so don't feel like that's too much low end to take off. You have to make room for the low end, and I like the kick drum and bass to dominate the low end, and that's filling up the bass part for the piano, so we're not losing anything. So that's what I'm doing. I'm rolling off that, and I'm boosting a little bit of 8K here. And also I'm giving it a little bit of compression just to keep the piano balanced, right? And here I also have an instance of Pro Q. I was going to do something with this. Let me show you a secret here. I'm going to turn on the Pro Q. I have nothing on the piano. I have the channel strip engaged here. And I'm going to switch it to mid-side. This is a technique from the pros. What you do is EQ the mid-range, let's say about 2 or 4 K. Let me put that EQ here. It's got about 4K. And this is so the piano doesn't get in the way of the vocals. In this case I don't need, but I'm still going to show you how we do it. So this is on the mid-range here. And I'm gonna split that, and I'm gonna increase on the sides maybe about 9K. And let's play the before and after here. Before. So that's what we have so far. Now, how do we know if we're making progress here? I'm gonna bring in the guitar. First of all, I'm gonna bring in my sends. I'm sending the piano through a reverb. I'm going to show my reverb bus here. here is my settings. I'm rolling off about 246 on the low pass. I'm a little 1.6 pre-delay, so when the piano hits the reverb, it delays and doesn't wash out the piano. So let's play the before and after with the reverb on, creating that big room. I want to create space. Let's try with and without the Pro Q. So that's what I did, and I went ahead. Let's move on to the second instrument here, which is the guitar. I'm gonna turn off all the plugs. I'm gonna play the piano. I'm gonna play the guitar. Here we go. Now this is coming from Native Instruments, Strum Acoustic 2, the Blackjack version. And I wanted that acoustic feel, like the guitar is in the room with you. So I'm not running it through a reverb. I'm actually running it through a church setting on the reverb to give it more of a room, rolling off some high end and low end. And I'm not pre-delaying because I want it to feel like the guitar is in a room. So, and you might notice a lot of my mixes I'm running on SSL channel strip. So I'm gonna turn this thing on. I'm rolling off about 172. You might say that's ridiculous, Ray, but it's working. And let's see if I'm boosting anything here. I'm not boosting anything. I'm just doing some subtle compression with the guitar because it sounds good already. We don't want to mess up the song. So let's play it with the channel strip. Off, on. Blends it nicely with the piano. And on top of that, I'm running the J37 tape machine, which is giving the guitar more body. And it brings clarity out of it. And I'm going to turn on the compressor just to tame those strums, right? So that's what I have running. And here we go. I'm going to send the send on into the room.
My day one.
Pardon, guys. Off, on. So I'm giving like it's in a hallway kind of thing. Let me bring it down a little bit. For some reason it sounds better with the hall. Off, on. It's a subtle effect. So that's what I'm having with the piano and the guitar. I notice the LED, the meters is giving me about negative 12 dB there. So that's what I'm doing. At the same time, what I'm gonna do at this time, just so you guys don't get fooled, I'm gonna turn off my chains here with my EQ, and I'm gonna leave on the compressor so you can hear why we master these things, we pre-master. I know it sounds a little bit lower, so just turn up the volume on your headset, guys. So that's what I had to work with. Generally, I like to start off with a little bit of EQ on the mix bus. So I'm going to turn that back on. Just rolling off a little bit of low end on 30 and boosting a little bit of 12K. Let's turn it back on, so I can know more or less how the mix is going to sound before we reach to the end of the stage. Moving on next, I have the clap on the track here. That's a normal clap. What I'm doing with this, I'm compressing. I can roll off a little bit more on the high pass here. Basically, that's all I'm doing. I'm just compressing the clap. I'm not adding anything else to it. Let's move on to the hi-hats. Don't feel like you need to EQ everything, guys. Just rolling off some low end before after, because we don't need that on the hi-hats. I'm going to scroll on down and I'm going to go to the bass. And I believe I have two copies of the bass. So let me show you what's going on with this bass. Now, if you listen to the song on YouTube, you might say, where did they get that big fat bass? This thing is coming from one of the cheapest VSTs on the planet, but one of the most powerful VSTs as well. It's a hip hop bass, and I didn't like that Dr. Dre's thing in it. So here's what I did with the EQ. I rolled off a lot of the low end and a little bit of top end to give it a more acoustic feel. So check it out. Before, after. That's what I wanted. And to get some woof on it, I send it parallel compression to a copy of a bus track. And on that bus track, I have a guitar amp on it to get a bigger sound. So off, on, gives the bass some more power. And I can combine these three. And you'll notice everything is blending just fine. I'm gonna bring up another instrument here. This synthesizer, all I'm doing is rolling off some low end and some top end because it's the mid-range song I wanted from this thing. So that's all I'm doing on the EQ. I'm sending it through the reverb, nothing special. And let's go down to the kick drum real quick here. I'm gonna isolate the kick drum, and this is what I started out with. Song's kind of muffled, so I'm rolling off about 50. I'm boosting 7 dB to about 5, and I'm boosting 4.5 about 4.5 dB at about 3.5. I'm compressing. Let's turn on SSL to get that meat. And this is one of Andrew Shep's secret. Set your frequency about 60 or 50 according to taste, and put the R bass on it, and you get a little bit more sub on it. And I'm parallel compressing that through one kick track here, which have the Puig Tech EQ and SSL compressor. Here they go. Before, after, giving us a little bit more bottom in. So let's hear what all that sounds. Bass line. And of course, everything is coming off the drum, so I can take off the drum if I want, or I can listen to just the drums if I want to. On the overall kick drum, I'm rolling off a little bit of 41 and giving it a little bit more, little bit of compression. And that's what I have for the drums, guys. And always reference your stuff. Already we're on point with our mix, so we're gonna stop there. This is part one, mixing the full song featuring King Swiss. So be sure to support us, and we're gonna upload the other one next week, God's willing, and we're gonna be showing you a lot of tricks on the vocals. We've pretty much touched the instruments, selecting the instruments, the clap to give that R&B hip hop kind of fusion sound with acoustic feel. So we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Take care.